a few weeks ago, I showed you a video on 5 ICOs that could make you a millionaire, ? And among them was Envion, or the EVN token. Now, at that point, they had already raised over 100 million in US dollars. So the question is, where are they now? Welcome back. My name is Seth Estrada.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And
no!
If you're watching this video, you're probably on my YouTube channel, Seth Estrada. Now, Envion has been the center of much controversy the last several days. But first off, let's just do a quick refresher. What is Envion? You see down here, in essence, this photo kind of explains it all. This picture kind of explains it all. Now, Envion is a mobile mining unit, they call it. They coined that phrase to basically say that they control a portfolio that they mine with your money and then they tokenize the rewards or tokenize the dividends of the pooled resources. Now, what you see in the image right here are shipping containers that have different mining systems embedded in them, such as ASICs and GPU mining rigs that Envion then controls and ships as close to power generation facilities as possible. So if there's cheap solar or cheap wind power or cheap hydroelectric or coal-fired power, nuclear energy, no matter where it comes from, Envion states that they'll get the cheapest rate on that power to make mining great again, make mining profitable again. That is the promise that Envion made to the world when doing their ICO, their initial raise of funds. So it's tradable on HitBTC, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. Before we jump in to talk about that, here's some news about Vitalik Buterin, contributing to the EOS here on CoinCodex. Apparently, on the EOS GitHub, Vitalik made this comment. This does not seem to actually be safe. I don't know, call me crazy, but if Vitalik Buterin came onto my GitHub, I'm not particularly a gifted programmer or anything. In fact, I'm not a programmer at all, but I do have a GitHub Pro account. I think everybody should. It's just, it's like Netflix. $8 a month, why not? So if Vitalik said this on my GitHub, on any of the projects that I have hosted there, just little stuff I piddle around with, I would listen. And he says, seems to actually not be safe. Consider a case with 4 validators. So we're allowed 1 Byzantine, suppose before time T, etc., etc., etc. Then his closing argument in general, it's not possible to achieve BFT safely on a block without at least 2 messages from most nodes that directly or indirectly reference that block. This algo tries to do it in 1 round, and it's likely impossible to actually do that safely. If you want an intuitive and good way of doing this, I recommend just using the algorithm in our Casper FFG paper. So he has a little call to action there to say, hey, take a look at our stuff. Maybe you can borrow from us. Now, good on you, Vitalik, for being a good member of the open source community. This is how we make progress, people. You want progress? This is how we get progress. And somebody says, guys, can we please take Vitalik's concerns seriously? I know we always do. We always do. What about we take the safer option for the mainnet launch with this 2+ messages from the most nodes? And then Bytemaster says, I'm reviewing V's comment now. Hopefully he comes back to say he's taking it on advisement and actually doing something with it. But Vitalik Buterin, you, sir, are awesome. You're punching ignorance in the face. All right, so we've also got in the news Robinhood. Robinhood Crypto just launched in 5 states. I know the state that I live in was one of them. I got an email notification from Robinhood saying, hey, you can now trade BTC and Ethereum as a pair. Now, is there anything more than that going on? No, but here's why it's awesome. It's awesome because Robinhood offers free trades. So if I'm only trading BTC against Ethereum, I'm still getting it with 0 maker-taker fees. So I can trade that all day for free on Robinhood. It begs the question, why would I do it anywhere else? So according to this article on Investopedia by Nathan Reif, this is posted a couple of days ago, claims that this could drastically increase the trade volume of BTC and ETH. Now, I think he's not wrong, but right now, Robinhood was valued at 1.3 billion. It's impressive, but not nearly as much as the latest figures. The newest round of fundraising is thanks to major investors like DST Global and Sequoia Capital. These are major players, right? Among others. And so Robinhood and Coinbase, I think that right here, most people are beginning to believe that Robinhood is a genuine rival to Coinbase, and there could be some serious competition heating up right now. I think they're not wrong. Back to Envion. So the core concept is that it is decentralized mining at the cheapest source of power generation. Pretty cool idea, I think, in theory. But something happened. Envion's price has gone down, and clearly the trade volume has gone up. This can mean only one thing: a major sell-off. So it begs the question: what is going on with Envion? What's the rub? What's happening? What's the problem here? So let's jump in and take a closer look here.
No, God! No!
Yeah,
God,
every time
please,
that I say those words.
No! No!
Every time that I say something about jumping in or my channel, you're going to see, no! All right. So a couple different statements here. Statement Matthias Westman, Envion AG. And right here, Envion Founders Team statement. There are two different statements. So there's a bit of a problem here. But let's listen to Matthias first.
I'm Matthias Westman and I'm the CEO of Envion. I know the last couple of months have been difficult for you because there was silence and I didn't communicate with you. Today I will explain to you why that happened and that I had really serious reasons to do so. When you invested in Envion, everyone believed that a good idea would be also carried out by good people.
Yeah, we kind of did. That's why people give you hundreds of millions of dollars.
But in the very night the ICO ended, some members of the Envion team created more than 20 million tokens more than the prospectus allowed.
Wait, so this happened the very night that fundraising ended, and we're just not hearing about it?
And they did so without the knowledge of the board.
Wait, it's a ledger that you guys could all see. How did you not know? Tell us more, Matthias. Tell us more.
Now that created a cascade of events that endangered the very existence of the company. First, the supervisory board member from Switzerland stepped back. Second, our auditor, PricewaterhouseCoopers, also decided not to work with us any longer. Now, with these two structural damages, the company was in real danger to be liquidated by the Swiss authorities. And I could not go to the public with these problems without having a solution.
Yes and no. Yes and no. You kind of needed to communicate this early, and you needed to communicate often, because now we don't trust you. But go on.
So what I did in the last 2 months was to look for...
Wait, 2 months? 2 months. Your company is in danger of being completely liquidated by Swiss authorities, and you took 2 months to issue a statement.
For a proper solution. First, I got a great supervisory board member on board, which is Mark Gurov, an IT CEO of a public company in Switzerland and Germany. And we got on board a new auditor, which is...
You know, an IT CEO is usually called a CTO. But maybe I'm just splitting hairs here.
Was probably BDO. They had an LOI signed these days with us to work and clean up.
By the way, an LOI is a letter of intent. If you're wondering, it just means that they're pretty serious about doing something with this business.
The mess. That's corporate governance. Regarding the authorities, we have informed the financial regulator of Switzerland and we have filed a criminal complaint in Germany.
Okay, criminal complaint in Germany. This is good. This means that you're taking criminal action, you're filing criminal complaint against people in your own company?
What is of course most important for you is what will happen to your investment. Now, the creation of...
Okay, it took us 1 minute and 49 seconds to get around to what everybody is interested in. What's in it for me? What happened to my money? But again, go on.
Additional tokens means a dilution for you, and that is of course unacceptable for us.
Unless, of course, you just burn those tokens and then they don't exist, and then the dilution, it's like it never happened.
We will replace the old Envion token by a new token that carries the full payout rights for you. So that basically...
Wait, why are we replacing the blockchain instead of just doing a coin burn?
For everyone who has subscribed to the Envion ICO will have no damage. He will get a token that carries the full dividend rights in the future. Now that's the tokens, and
the tokens are kind of a big deal. They're literally all that any of the investors have to show for the money they gave you. The cold, hard cash.
Of course you want to know what's happening in operations. Mass production hasn't started yet, and there's a very strong reason for it. Because I can't take a decision about millions and millions of investments without a proper corporate structure.
Actually, you kind of can, and the longer you wait before you put miners into production, the less profitable the entire venture is, unless you've invested people's money elsewhere in order to continue to maintain the value of that initial investment. Frankly, money doesn't stand still, right? Finance doesn't stand still. So unless you've got this invested somewhere in order to at least outpace inflation, then you're an idiot. And you have to think that we're idiots to think that you haven't invested it somewhere.
Without an auditor, without a second supervisory board member. So these decisions are now imminent. One last thing. I don't have any control of the traditional communication channels of Envion.
Such as like, what, telephones? Or you don't have an email address there or something?
So authorized news by the legitimate board of Envion AG will be only available on envion-recovery.org. And I promise you, I will do everything to make our vision come true.
Wow. This guy is something else. This is just something else. I don't know. Wow. Wow. I don't know what to make of that at all. But let's jump back in and see what the other news report has to say. As I mentioned, there are two separate press releases. This is the one by Matthias Westman. Envion Recovery. Eesh, interesting. Boom. But what's this? Envion Founders Team statement. Wait a second. What's going on here? Was the other one a false flag? Is there hashtag fake news going on up in here? Hashtag fake news? Could be. Don't know. But we're going to have to take a look. So let's jump back over here and see exactly what the Founders Team has to say about this.
Headlines again. Hi everyone, it's Laurent again, coming to update you.
Everybody say hi, Laurent. Hi, Laurent.
On Envion. It is really nice to be able to talk to you and give you guys an update again.
Why is it really nice? Why wouldn't this have been really nice 2 months ago, guys? Here's the issue. This was an issue 2 months ago. We all knew it was an issue 2 months ago. Why is it nice to be able to talk to us now? Were you somehow prohibited from talking to us then?
It's been a while. A lot has happened, especially today. And again, I'm really happy to be able to talk directly with you and to be able to speak a little bit more openly than maybe in the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to jump right in. You have clearly read the headlines before seeing this. I'm sure if you're an Envion token holder, you know that the founders of Envion have a conflict with the CEO, Matthias Buterin, that has resulted in several lawsuits and charges against Matthias Buterin.
Oh, wait a second. So that was a false flag before? What he's saying as far as there being some kind of criminal charges being brought up against the founder team or the engineering team in Germany? It's actually a lawsuit against the CEO by the founders? Do tell, Laurent. Tell us.
I don't want to get into the details of the story. You can read about that. We released links about that on all our social media channels, so go ahead, check that out. That's a primary source. We're going to continue to roll out more information about that, including documents, primary sources that everyone can see to verify our story. I do want to talk about some of the stories, however, that have come from Mr. Buterin. It's very disappointing to see some accusations come from him. First and foremost, there's a story about extra tokens.
It's a story? It was made up? There aren't really extra tokens?
Which he claims there's about 20 million extra tokens. There's certainly many millions of extra tokens. And that's something that we have been very open about since day one. Anyone following Telegram has seen me write 1,000 times that the token supply listed on exchanges is incorrect because there are tokens that need to be burned. We created...
Hey, how about that? A founder that understands that when there are extra tokens, you can just burn them.
Extra tokens for bounty, for pre-sale, and a very small amount also for buffer in case there were any errors that we would have to restore tokens. Those tokens need to be burned for any of the bounty that was does not end up being paid, for pre-sale investors that for whatever reason did not end up completing their requirements, and there's at least one of those in the tune of over 1 million tokens that was supposed to go to there that need to be burned. Now, we've been really open with this. We've said, like I said many times, said it in our blog posts, these tokens need to be burned. We also said it to Matthias Buterin, who has sole right to authorize the burning of those tokens. We asked many times. We have a written record of this, and we're going to be sharing that with you. And we did not get a reply from Matthias Buterin authorizing us to do that. And that is what's in our token subscription agreement. That's the legal document that underpins the ICO, which every EVN token holder is a part of. No response. Tokens have not been burned. We're waiting to burn them.
Okay, so we've got an issue here where it's pretty clear that there's been some miscommunication between the different teams, and those who are actual Envion founders have made it clear that they intended to burn the additional tokens. Right here, it says video add-ons, Laurent Mint, company shares, not tokens. The one large pre-sale investor mentioned had several million unused tokens. All relevant IP as patents is owned by the founders. So any patents that aren't part of open source code belong to these guys, not Matthias. And then Vestman has tried to silence our communication with investors with threats of lawsuits. Ooh, I don't like what you're going to say. I'm going to sue you. But here's the thing. It seems like they've got a leg to stand on. He doesn't. Interesting here on the MVN Reddit, apparently there are fewer than 1,000 people who are on the official Envion subreddit. The founder's statement right there. Visa chargeback scam from the beginning. People are not happy about what Matthias put there. And it looks like, show us proof you sued Matthias Vestman. Founding team sued for corporate robbery. Swiss blockchain startup suspected fraud in crowdfunding campaign. Oh no. Really? Really? Do you suspect fraud in an ICO, an aggressive ICO that wanted your cash to try to make mining rigs? Why don't you just get mining rigs? Okay, so I'm going to just reiterate what I said in the original video. Guys, I think it's an interesting concept, but frankly, if you're interested in mining, you should probably just get mining equipment for yourself, and you should find a co-location facility for yourself. Do not get caught up in somebody else funding the mining operation for you. In my opinion, there may be trustworthy companies out there that can do that, but so far, companies like Envion are giving that entire business model a bad name, and people are corporate interests that attempt to follow in Envion's footsteps. It's not a good path to follow. Think of how generally displeased people have been with companies like Genesis Mining and Gigawatt. And these are companies, Genesis Mining and Gigawatt, they're really trying to keep their noses clean, right? They're really working hard to do this thing right. But even they are having a struggle with people just not being happy with the way things have been rolled out. So yeah, let's see what else is on the Reddit. You're all responsible. Should be a multi-sig wallet. All right. Pot calling the kettle black. Wow. Why has the CEO not yet given approval for the ICO funds to be used by 11 days ago? 10 MMUs built so far. All right, let's talk about this. 10 MMUs. 10 mobile mining units. Now, these are at a cost of $1.2 million, roughly. Maybe, let's say it's $1.5 million. If it's $1.5 million, you're looking at only $15 million total out of a pot of $100 million US. That's a lot of money and only a tiny bit of product. And if those have been manufactured, those have been made so far, where are they? Are they even in production? Are they mining anywhere? They could be used to recoup at least some of the capex for building out those miners, but are they in production? Have they been placed? Can you prove that that's happening? Doesn't seem like it. Envion, no news, no MMUs, but taking a fortune is okay. A lot of very unhappy people on Reddit, I'll say that. A lot of very unhappy people on YouTube, I'll say that also. Yeah, poor BitGlen. This guy, he's been with Envion since a very early phase, and I just feel for the guy. You know, he's like most of us, really pushing to try to wrap his head around the entire crypto investing, trading, mining, all of it. All of this whole scene. And if you haven't had exposure to blockchain and Bitcoin for several years, there's a lot to take in. This is one of those few areas in which blockchain and cryptocurrency in general, it's one of these domains in which you have to know a little bit about everything. And if you know a lot about several things, that's great. So having a programmer explain it to you is cool. It's not important. Actually, it doesn't really matter whether or not you're a programmer. But if you do know some programming, it does help you. It's some kind of an advantage. Getting the explanation of a programmer, largely not important. But if you can understand, at least with some level of intelligence, many, many different things, finance, if you can understand hardware, if you can understand business building, if you can understand corporate structures, if you can understand IPOs, if you can understand investing and trading on some level, it's really to your advantage. Programming, maybe not the most important thing, actually, but all the other stuff, pretty important to get some sense for how it all works. And there are guys like BitGlen who are just like, hey, I'm trying to get my sea legs, I'm trying to figure out exactly how this whole thing works. He invested, he got burned, he's not happy. I can feel for him. This came out just a few days ago on Oracle Times. Only a fool would ignore Envion. And I think they mean that in a positive way. Like, you should really check it out. It's going to be amazing. Hey, what's there not to like about Envion? It's going to be an amazing token launch. Why only a fool would be one to ignore its potential? But its potential for what, right? Only a fool would ignore its potential. Potential for what? Its potential for upside, or its potential for being a scam? I think it's a potential for being a scam. Personally, I think there's a huge problem here, and we're just now starting to see it. Why is the price dropping? The main reason EVN's price is dropping is because it's a scam coin. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks. I'm a D-shirt. I don't know what that means. They haven't built a Fortune 500 business in less than a couple of months automatically classifies them as a scam. Typical impatient cryptards 4 days ago. I think this person probably hasn't read recent news. Is cryptards trademarked? Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's a bit of an issue here in Envion land. As I said the last video, it is to be avoided. Congratulations, Vitalik, for being an awesome member of the open source community. You don't need me to tell you, but it definitely does deserve some applause. So thank you so much. And then Robinhood, if you haven't already joined it, you can join Robinhood at the bit.ly link down in the description. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for clicking the bell icon to be notified when new videos come out. You're the reason I make these videos. I love your face. I'll see you in the next one.